When we looked at See's Candy in 1972, actually the seller, he was not interested in the business, and he was more interested in girls and grapes actually, and he almost changed his mind. He did change his mind about selling, and I wasn't there, but Rick Aaron told me that Charlie went in and gave an hour talk on the merits of girls and grapes over having a candy company. This is true, folks. And the fellow sold to us, so I pulled Charlie out in emergencies like that.
We have a company called See's Candy out on the West Coast. See's Candy is boxed chocolates. If you give a box of See's chocolates to your girlfriend on the first date and she kisses you, we own you. You know, I mean, we can raise the price tomorrow and you'll buy the same box. You're not going to fool around with success. So the key there is the response. Price is, to a degree, is immaterial. If you've got an economic castle, people are going to come and want to take that castle away from you. And you better have a strong moat. You better have a knight in the castle that knows what he's doing.
Well, remember, Warren had a long history of buying stocks below working capital per share, hugely cheap securities. And by definition, they were all pretty lousy companies. And in See's, we bought a really good company. In its field, it was the best in its part of California, which is pretty much all of California. And it had a wonderful product, a wonderful reputation, and so on. And it had a powerful trademark and a good culture. And we bought that and made so much money. It just was eye-opening how important these brands were. I don't think that Warren would have made all the money that Berkshire made in Coca-Cola if he hadn't bought See's. He learned. The record of Berkshire Hathaway and the record of Warren Buffett is a record based on continuous learning. If he hadn't kept learning from every experience, the record would not be as good. He learned from See's that he should buy Coca-Cola. You really can understand the power of a brand more when you buy something very cheaply and you're still getting 300% per annum on your investment in cash. That draws your attention. A brand can be very important.
When we looked at See's Candy in 1972, would people still want to be both eating and giving away that candy in preference to other candies? And it wouldn't be a question of people buying candy for the low bid. And we had a manager we liked very much, and we bought a business that was paid $25 million for it net of cash, and it was earning about $4 million pre-tax then, and we must be getting close to $2 billion or something like that pre-tax that we'd taken out of it. But it was only because we felt that people would not be buying necessarily a lower price candy. I mean, it does not work very well if you go to your wife or your girlfriend on Valentine's Day, I hope they're the same person, and say, here's a box of candy, honey, I took the low bid. It loses a little of it as you go through that speech. And we made a judgment about See's Candy that it would be special, and probably not in the year 2017, but we certainly thought it would be special in 1982 and 1992, and fortunately we were right on it. And we're looking for more See's Candies, only a lot bigger.
It's also true that we were young and ignorant then. And
now we're old and ignorant. Yeah.
Yes, that's true too. And the truth of the matter is that it would have been very wise to buy See's Candy at a slightly higher price. And if they'd asked it, we wouldn't have done it. So we've gotten a lot of credit for being smarter than we were.
Yeah, and to be more accurate, if it had been $5 million more, I wouldn't have bought it. Charlie would have been willing to buy it. So fortunately, that we didn't get to the point where we had to make that decision that way. But he would have pushed forward when I probably would have faded.
We were very lucky that early the habit of buying horrible businesses because they were really cheap. It gave us a lot of experience trying to fix unfixable businesses as they headed downward toward doom. And that early experience was so horrible fixing the unfixable, that we were very good at avoiding it thereafter. So I would argue that our early stupidity helped us.
Yeah. Yeah. We learned we could not make a silk purse out of a sow's ear.
No,
so,
we learned.
So we went around looking for silk.
But you have to try it for a long time and fail and have your nose rubbed in it to really understand it.
Can you explain why See's was able to grow its profits through the 70s, 80s, and 90s, but not so far in this millennium?
See's has done remarkably well, far better than any chocolate company in the country. Russell Stover did very well for a while, very well, with a different business model. But, they ran into their problems as well. So we can't do much about increasing the size of the market. And we've tried a lot of ways. And we've tried moving out of our strong geography multiple times. I mean, Charlie and I looked at what we were earning in California in the 70s and said to ourselves, if we could do this in 50 states instead of one, we'll get very rich. So we tried it and we didn't get very rich. It doesn't travel that well.
Well, sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. And you figure out whether it's going to work by trying it.
Yeah, and we've tried it many times. But so far, it's interesting. 2/3 people in the East prefer dark chocolate, 2/3 to 1/3. In the West, they prefer milk chocolate, 2/3 to 1/3. They like miniatures in the East. They won't eat miniatures in the West. There's a lot of different things. But in the end, there isn't a lot of box chocolates volume. And we've done very, very, very well in See's. And it not only has provided us with earnings that we've used to buy other businesses, so we've added lots of earnings power through See's beyond the earning power we've added at See's. But it opened my eyes to the power of brands, and probably you could say that we made a lot of money in Coca-Cola partly because we bought See's, or at least in my case bought See's because I'd understood brands to some degree, but there's nothing like owning one and sort of seeing the possibilities with it as well as the limitations to educate yourself about things you might do in the future. And in 1972 we bought See's, and in 1988 we bought Coca-Cola, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if we had not owned See's, whether we would have owned Coca-Cola later on. Charlie?
Yeah, there's no question about the fact that its main contribution to Berkshire was ignorance removal. And it's not the only big contributor to ignorance removal. If it weren't for the fact we were so good at removing our ignorance step by step, Berkshire would be practically nothing today. What we knew originally wasn't enough. We were pretty damn stupid when we bought See's. We were just barely smart enough to buy it. And if there's any secret to Berkshire, it's the fact that we're pretty good at ignorance removal. And the nice thing about that is we have a lot of ignorance left to remove.